As wedding DJs, I think we all ultimately want to have successful events. So if we start with 100 people, we want to end with 100 people. Or if we start with 200 people, we want to end with 200 people. But that's hard to do sometimes because the philosophy has always been that the older folks aren't going to be able to stick around all night. Why? Well, they're not used to staying up late, or they have church in the morning, or whatever. So, as a DJ, what I would do, and what I think a lot of people do, is they would play the older music in the first part of the evening. Then they do the garter bouquet toss. And you feel like, maybe your aunt and uncle and your grandma and grandpa will want to stick around to see the garter bouquet toss. But when that's over, they'll go home in droves. And then you can start playing all of the newer contemporary music. And I did that for years, and it worked. And then about 10 years ago, I remember one night, Grandma came up to me at about 11:30, and she's like, "Why aren't you playing the oldies anymore? What happened to the twist and the Motown?" And I'm like, "Why are you here? You were supposed to be in bed an hour ago." I thought that was an isolated incident, but it kept happening over and over again. And I couldn't figure out why, because I really hadn't changed the way that I was DJing. I was playing music in the same fashion, but I ultimately changed the way that I DJ. I started mixing up the old and the new all night long in smaller sets because the older folks were sticking around. So I was ending as strong as I started, and that was cool. But why was the question? Maybe it's the baby boomers. Maybe they're just a lot cooler than the generation that came before them. They can hang longer, they're up for a party. But I don't think that was it. Really, what I think it was, when I look back, the one thing that changed 10 years ago was my sound system. Now, without going into specifics, I used to carry around two 15-inch two-way top cabinets, two 18-inch subwoofers, and I bi-amped them with some pretty big, heavy amplifiers with a lot of power. About 10 years ago, I switched over to a really clean set of active speakers, 12-inch tops. The sound changed. I wasn't chasing people out of the room anymore. Now I know that it's important to have a hot spot on the dance floor where people can dance. And then elsewhere in the room, there should be conversation areas where people can sit and talk. Now, if they can't sit and talk because the music is blaring loud back there, the bass is knocking the teeth out of their heads, they're either going to leave the room to talk or just go home because they don't want to dance to the new music and they can't talk, so what's the point of sticking around? If you keep those conversation areas, they'll stick around because they can do something, they can talk. And maybe when they've had a couple more cocktails and they're feeling brave, they'll come up and they'll want to hear some Elvis Presley at 11:30. That's what happens at my events. So most of my events end as strong as they started. And the only thing I can really attribute that to, besides baby boomers just being partiers, is that sound system thing. So just a quick vlog for you. Hope it helped somebody, gave you some ideas. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Practice and enjoy.